Hello everyone, this is the Moon Mama recording tonight, and I am recording Ascension Moment show number 7, and 7 is a great number. Represents our highest connection to the heavenly planes, our divine self, and it's a fitting number for the topic that I'm going to be talking about tonight. And so I'm going to be talking about hiding in neutrality and acceptance of the self and acceptance of what's happening in our life. I think all those things will kind of intertwine together. The main thing being, talking about how people behave and how people hide in things. And I've had a few personal experiences this week, one that's been building over time and one that is, I don't know, just came up recently with a situation with myself, and so I'll just get right into it and talk about it. One of the things that I think people do is people tend to separate themselves, and they create different masks that they wear and different armor that they put on their bodies or around their bodies to protect themselves from something usually that's occurred to them a long time ago. And in the process of doing this protective dance, some people have learned to be neutral. And so one of the things that I find really interesting is that neutrality can be a really beautiful thing. But I don't think that a true friend can be totally neutral. And the reason why I say this is because you may have situational things where someone, say you're a friend and you're closer to one person, but you've known someone else longer, and you're not really friends, but you know this person, and this person comes in and talks a bit of trash about the person that's really in your life a lot more. And your desire to stay neutral allows you to listen to this other person talking trash about one of your friends. And although you do your best to turn every negative into a positive, you allow the negative talk. And then when one of your actual friend needs to discuss it with you, you're trying so hard to remain neutral that the way that it comes off is that you're not there for that person, because you're unwilling to engage that person's situation or engage the person's emotions and what they're going through, because your desire to stay neutral and stay out of any kind of complication that friendships ultimately do entail. It becomes a sort of hiding of yourself in the neutrality. You keep yourself. It came to my attention that it became more of a guard. People have so many different ways in which they guard and push other people away, and neutrality can be one of those as well, where you become so neutral that you're refusing to let anyone really in a deep way by really becoming close with another person. And so neutrality can tend to be this block where you're not willing to sacrifice that much of yourself in order to have the friendship, because friendships are a work. And I just thought that was an interesting thing that came up. People hide in so many aspects of their life, and another way that people hide is building these layers upon layers of experience, and through the web of this experience they stop looking at themselves. They're kind of sleepwalking through life, where they're not understanding anymore that their actions are having a reflection on someone else, or that they're causing a reaction or feelings that are being hurt, or their actions of staying inside themselves and then not looking at themselves as they're growing and developing in life, that they're just layering this mask, and it gets thicker and thicker and thicker until they're just this pile of reactions that they don't even see themselves anymore, and they don't see who they are in reality. They have an image of who they are, but the image does not match the reality that everyone else sees. And they retreat back into the layers when they're conflicted with having to face themselves. And in that level of layered hiding, you cannot be close with someone, because you're not allowing someone to see you for who you are, and chances are all those layers are serving as a block to anyone who's trying to show interest. And in fact, people may even reject kindness, reject friendship, because they're not capable of letting down the guards. And anyone who tries to peel away some of the layers experiences a violent reaction from the person who's having the layers peeled away. And they're usually over exaggerated, and it all stems from a fear of really looking at themselves. And so we as human beings are so caught up in the layers and the hiding and the neutrality and not getting involved and not engaging and not being there and not listening, that it's become a division amongst people. And it's a sad thing, really, but it hurts other people who are open-hearted, who are trying very hard to share and become part of a community. And so I just find it very interesting that people will not accept who they are. They will not accept really not accepting their divine self. I was listening to something today, and I thought that it was so profound, because it talked about acceptance, and really the acceptance comes back to loving yourself. We hide a lot in things because somewhere in there we're not loving the self, and maybe we think that other people will not love ourself if they see every part of us. And I know I've done another Ascension moment where I talked about integrating all selves into one, and I think that it comes down to that. A lot of people don't integrate all parts of themselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because they're afraid that one of those selves will not be loved. So they present only the best part of themselves. And what I heard today that I thought was a brilliant way to talk about it is, you don't try and accept things. You have to accept things. They happen, and you accept them because you're living in it. And what happens is we usually don't like the things that have happened, and so we're fighting the acceptance of what is. But we're already in it. And one of the reasons why we fight that is because of fears, but also because we don't love ourselves in absolutely every moment. We feel like we have to hide behind things, or we have fear of being vulnerable and being open and being sharing with other individuals. So we hide, but it's not accepting yourself in every aspect of the word, meaning that, you're accepting even your feelings of negativity. You're really saying, okay, that's who I am. I'm negative right now, and I love myself as the feelings I have right in this moment. Whether anyone else likes it or not, and maybe it isn't the highest vibrational feeling to have in the world, but you own it and you accept it as part of yourself at that moment, and you still love yourself no matter how ugly it may be. And when you're at your best, you love yourself in that moment too. And I just found that interesting because a lot of times when we speak our truth to someone, and what happens after that is that you second guess things that you've said, and you feel bad about speaking your truth even though it was your truth, and you may worry about how other people perceive it, or maybe I'm a bad person because I spoke my truth. But in the moment, you didn't feel that way. You felt like it needed to be said. And I think when people go backwards and they feel guilty about it, and then they start feeling bad about themselves and worrying that other people are not going to like them because maybe they had an alternate point of view that was confrontational, or maybe they had a problem with someone and they aired it, and maybe it came out good, and maybe it came out the wrong way, but still they aired it. And after that, maybe there's regrets. And even in those moments, it's important to still love yourself. For instance, I wrote a blog the other day. I was feeling very negative about several, things that I'd been witnessing in other people and experiences that I've had, and really just was observing human beings out in the world and how they're interacting with me and with other people, and being overwhelmed with you hear of violence and different things, and it really started to get to me. And I wrote a blog, and the title was People Are Douches. That's how I felt. And part of the integration of the self is that you don't hide that. And it's okay. If people saw that blog and they didn't like the fact that I said people are douches, I'm okay with that, because I loved myself in the moment that I felt like people were douches, and that's okay. And I'm engaging my feelings, and I'm engaging other people, and I'm engaging whatever comments may come back, whether they like it or they don't like it. I'm engaging my dreams. I'm engaging my goals. I'm engaging all of these things, and I'm willing to do the work, to have, to work towards the goals. I'm willing to do the work towards friendship. I'm willing to do the work towards closer family, connections. But why are so many people hiding? What are people afraid of in connecting with other human beings? I think it all comes down to they're afraid of not being loved. And what's worse is that I feel like there's somewhere in themselves that they're not loving themselves. And I know that sometimes people think, oh, I want to stay positive. I'm just going to stay positive, and I'm not going to get involved, and to some degree, sometimes being, neutral, it definitely has its place. But I think that, especially when it comes to friendship, I don't think that you can remain totally neutral. I think that you have to engage the emotions. And I think if somebody wants to talk to you about something that happened, and you're so dead set on being neutral that you basically ignore their feelings, that's not being a friend either. So there's a middle way to hearing both sides and being there for somebody and listening and engaging the conversation in a way where maybe you're going to engage it only to turn it into a positive, but you're still going to listen. You're going to let the person that is your friend be heard. The danger of being too neutral is that it comes off as cold and uncaring. And I think we have to really look at that, because people who are giving to one another, especially in a friendship, it could come off as a one-sided friendship. And that doesn't feel good to the person who gives but never receives. So I guess this ascension moment really is about people hiding from themselves, people hiding in neutrality, people hiding in the busy work of acceptance, where people say, well, I'm just trying to accept this. Well, you don't try to accept it. It's, that's what they call spiritual busy work. You're already accepting what is because you're living in it. You don't have to do anything at all to accept what is. But what you have to do the work is to accept yourself as what is happening. And what is happening may not be pleasant, and it may bring out the ugliest side of you, or maybe a side that you just don't like to look at. So I think anything can be faced if you're willing to look at yourself, and in every aspect to love yourself when you're happy, love yourself when you're sad, love yourself when you're angry, love yourself when you've made mistakes. All of that, because if you can start with loving yourself, you're going to reflect that like a mirror. You become a mirror in which to reflect all of that love out into the universe. And so I guess that's all I wanted to say about it. I felt like I needed to vent and talk about it because I've had frustrations with that, and in those frustrations and listening to positive things and kind of analyzing it, I realized that my frustration in itself was an unwillingness to accept. Let me put it better. It was I was fighting what already was. What already occurred, I was saying, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to fight it because I don't like what this person did to me, or I don't like that this person, I don't feel heard, or this person wasn't a friend, or this person was rude to me, or this person's just a total jerk. And my frustration came from a lack of loving myself in that moment of ugliness feeling, and also just fighting what is. And what is all those little moments. They occurred. And I didn't have to really accept it. I just had to be in it and not fight that moment and say, okay, these things happen. I didn't like it. It sucked, but I still love myself even though I feel negative. That's okay because tomorrow's another day. And it's impossible for me to stay mad at anyone for too long because I go through this condensed file of information, and I start sorting through all the files to make sense of how do I process this in my own mind to learn from it and to find the benefit from all of these experiences that I don't like that have happened to me. How do I process it all into something that is useful and harmonious and connects me to a deeper vibration and pull to the divine? How do I do that? So my brain and my heart and my soul goes through a soul searching. It's like I'm a computer just downloading everything, every lesson I've ever learned, everything that I've ever talked about, everything I've ever felt and how I came out of it positively and all these things. And it's like my whole being goes into this downloading all of this information again and then taking it from other sources. And so within 24 hours, I usually come out the other side having learned from it, which is why I'm here, is a way to take everything that I've just been through in the last 24 hours, process it, and be able to sit here and do an Ascension moment to share what I've learned with other people. And I feel better in having shared it, and I think that's the beauty of connecting with other human beings in the world, is that we are better when we share. We are more loving, we feel more connected, we feel like it's useful. Whatever we've gone through, it's those teachable moments are now useful to the rest of the world who wants to listen. And that's why I do what I do. So I just wanted to share all that information with you, and if anyone resonates with any of this, please send me, your comments, your, testimonials on the website from any of the things that you've heard today or on any of the podcasts. And yeah, share with me because it feels good to share. And I will use your testimonies on the testimonial page. Please contact me and just talk to me. Remember that I am still here for you guys. I do readings and I do spiritual counseling. And so if anyone needs any help with problems or in general just kind of wants to do a little reading on their life path and past, present, future, love, money, relationship, spirituality, anything like that, call me. And my number is 1-888-673-5060. And you could also email me at sufani@themoonmomma.com. Please also visit the website for all my updated podcasts and videos, and anything else new that I might be doing is on the website. And that website is themoonmomma.com, and Momma is spelled Momma. I did want to tell you guys too that this month, January 1st, I was published in the Sedona Journal of Emergence, which can be found in all the Barnes and Nobles. It's a really cool magazine that's dedicated to spiritual folk of all kinds. I mean, every type of connected spiritual person is in that magazine. And so there's a little something for everyone in that. And it's all filled with positive, information that's useful to human beings on a life path that's seeking harmony and light and love. So I highly recommend that you guys go out and get it. It's worth the investment. I think it's like $10. It's full color. It's beautiful. And my article is it's on page 43, and they changed the title, so I don't remember exactly the length of it. But basically the title was Healers Returning to the Light. They added something onto the front of that, but just look for Sufani Garza, and that's me. I'm the Moon Mama, Sufani. And page 43, pick it up and share it with your friends. And that's it for Ascension, show number 7. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you soon. Take care and have a great night. Bye-bye.
Why don't you guys fly in? I'll be on the